Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today in gaming, DICE are testing a proper team balancer for Battlefield. Beyond the Wire finally has a roadmap, Insurgency SANDSTORM's next update looks amazing, and much more. Battlefield 5's end-of-life support seems to be trickling on, as DICE are now testing an end-of-round team balancer for the Breakthrough game mode. The new system analyzes the balance of a server when a round ends and will shuffle players to new servers. DICE will expand it to other modes if the data shows a positive impact. It currently only runs on official servers, and even if the testing expands, it won't include Grand Operations or community servers. It sounds like a weird choice moving players from one server to another instead of just trying to switch squads around on the same team. This could result in big ping differences or just playing maps or modes that you're not interested in. The full forum post detailing how the balancer behaves offers some interesting tidbits of info. Squads won't be broken up. Friends playing together but not in a squad will get separated if the balancer decides to move players, which could be frustrating for folks that play with more than a handful of people. Mid-round balancing has been explored and debated internally, but DICE doesn't think it's good for the game's health. Shuffling teams mid-round can often lead to players who are doing well getting switched to the losing team. Assuming the end-of-round balancer works as intended, Battlefield shouldn't need mid-round balancing anyway. As for why this is being done now, the forum post talks a little bit about how stuff like mid-round balancer is a concern for DICE's future Battlefield games. It sounds like whatever works for Battlefield 5 will be applied to Battlefield 6. That's been the consistent message behind much of Battlefield 5's end-of-life support, using the current game kind of as a guinea pig for the next title. Community Games wasn't built just for Battlefield 5, for example. It will serve as the template for future Battlefield titles. For many Battlefield fans, these end-of-life updates are kind of bittersweet. Battlefield 5 could have turned out much better if DICE implemented community games and a team balancer sooner. I know one of my biggest frustrations with Battlefield 5 was always joining on the losing team. Without a team balancer, the losing side would pretty much always be the losing side even if the next map started. A team balancer could have solved that issue, but like many players, I've already moved on from Battlefield 5. Hopefully DICE pulls things together for Battlefield 6. Beyond the Wire, the World War I FPS I recently reviewed, just published its first roadmap. It covers updates into Q1 2021 and has some pretty solid content listed. Next month we'll be getting the Battle of Cantigny, a shooting range, optimization for existing maps, UI, and bug fixes. Next year we'll also be getting the British Expeditionary Forces and the Harlem Hellfighters as two new factions. We'll also be getting 3 maps with more on the way later in the year. And I'm personally excited to see where Beyond the Wire ultimately ends up, and this roadmap does look like a very good start. Insurgency SANDSTORM is getting a significant update on December 8th called Cold Blood. It'll add a snowy map called BAP, 2 new semi-auto snipers, the M110 SASS and the M1 Garand, as well as toggleable optics and a bunch of general improvements to the game. SANDSTORM has had a pretty wild 2020, and it's really starting to shape up as a worthy successor to the original standalone game. At launch, it was certainly a rough experience with performance issues and a lack of content holding back an otherwise solid tactical FPS. These days, the content is there, the optimization is starting to shine, and the overall game is pretty solid value. If you're looking to get into SANDSTORM, it's 50% off until December 1st on Steam. CRYSIS Remastered just got a massive update with tons of fixes, tweaks, and performance improvements. The remaster has been both praised and criticized for giving new life to the aging original game while carrying over many of its flaws, namely performance and frustrating gameplay sequences. The performance issues are certainly disappointing, however, it is a remaster and not a total remake. This new update should even performance out across the board, but particularly on high-end PCs with ray tracing enabled. Don't expect a night and day difference or anything though. As for the bug fixes, to be honest, I think they've addressed just about every nitpick and bug players have brought up. The 16-year development cycle for Black Mesa is finally over. The legendary community overhaul for Half-Life 1 just got its definitive edition update that improves on work done early in development, bringing all levels up to par with more recent work. In terms of visuals, Black Mesa is the definitive edition of Half-Life 1. As for gameplay, that's where the community is divided. It overhauls much of the original experience to be more streamlined at the expense of Valve's original vision. version. It also pads existing sequences out a bit too much for some players. That said, I can't think of a better way for modern gamers to experience Valve's original classic. A new gameplay trailer for the upcoming rhythm FPS Metal HELLSINGER just dropped, and it's a meaty one. It's our first fresh look at the game's combat in months. In HELLSINGER, players have to attack on the beat to rack up big combos. The beat just happens to be some seriously hardcore metal music custom made for the game's soundtrack by a bunch of metal veterans. If you thought Doom wasn't metal enough, Metal HELLSINGER is probably exactly what you're looking for. Warframe's next-gen upgrade is launching tomorrow. It's rolling out for the PlayStation 5 version and supports 4K 60 FPS while also adding a new dynamic lighting system and dramatically reducing load times. A similar upgrade for the Xbox Series X is in the works, but the release date hasn't been announced. Warframe currently offers nearly 8 years of content updates and expansions, all as part of the free-to-play experience. If the update is bringing it on par with the game's PC version, it should look suitably next-gen on the PlayStation 5 while offering an insane amount of content. Square Enix made a big announcement and are officially moving 80% of their staff to permanent remote working. The pandemic has forced many game developers and other companies into work-from-home situations. Many affected companies have pledged to offer better remote working solutions in the future or have outright made it a permanent option. In Square's case, they're sticking with the work-from-home setup even after the pandemic ends because they've seen an uptick in creativity and morale. Office jobs have been mainly dominated by, well, offices, despite modern technology rapidly getting to the point where working from home isn't just feasible, but even better for some fields. Hopefully, other companies can find a way of offering permanent work-from-home positions. In our final story today, Sony issued another big software update for the PlayStation 5 to address more of its many launch bugs. This update fixes an issue that would cause games installed via disk to uninstall themselves. Users would have to reinstall the game from scratch and it could still happen again. The update also improves system performance and a problem that prevented controllers from charging when the PlayStation 5 was in rest mode. And that wraps it up for today in gaming. Let me know in the comments down below what story you thought was the most interesting. I'm personally interested in the Battlefield 5 updates as they are kind of indicative of what we might be seeing with the next Battlefield game. If you guys are celebrating Thanksgiving, then happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching as always. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future, and I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap signing off.